Hello everyone, welcome back to the Anatomy Lab. Today we are going to be taking a look at the blood vessels of the head and the anterior neck. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started, but just remember regarding blood vessels, we typically have mostly arteries and veins, which are going to be the ones that flow throughout the body to allow blood to travel to different body parts. But furthermore, there are major differences between these, which is when you talk about the systemic circulatory system, the oxygenated blood will be in these red tubes, which, just to be clear, not actually red, but these are going to be indicating mostly arteries. And then blue is going to be carrying deoxygenated blood, which is mostly veins. Now, there are some exceptions to that, so just be careful in other parts of the body, but for now, you can see these red tubes, which are arteries, and then these blue tubes, which are veins. Now, to take a look at this, you can see that you have some blood vessels that are coming up from the heart region. Like the heart would be right down here, and off of the aorta coming out of the heart, there will be 3 branches coming out of there. So this right here will be from right to left, brachiocephalic trunk, which you'll only have one of, so that's it, brachiocephalic trunk. Then you have left common carotid artery, and then also left subclavian artery, which goes up and to the side and under the clavicle. Now, following these, let's actually catch up the right side to the left, because brachiocephalic, like between the words brachio and cephalic, brachio means arm, cephalic means head, and that's exactly what this will branch out to. So just like the left side, brachiocephalic trunk will have a right subclavian artery coming off of it that goes to the arm, brachio, and then cephalic is going to have common carotid artery going up to the head. Now, luckily, at least for testing purposes, that's about as far as I can say we can see here. Like the common carotid artery is going to go up, and then eventually from common it branches to the external and internal carotid arteries. But at the very least on this model, I would say that that is not very visible. But you can see on this other model, it's just about up here, like really tucked in. So once again, at least for testing purposes, I will not say that that's visible. But there is 1 more or 2 more arteries that we can see here as well, like 2 arteries coming off of the external carotid artery. There's this artery right here, which is going to be going up to the face, and this is called facial artery. And then this artery that goes along like the side of the head and then up along the temporal bone, this is called superficial temporal artery. So that would be just about it for arteries, at least for now, but we also have veins. But for veins, we want to follow the veins as they travel back to the heart. So let's go ahead and do that. So once again, luckily, we'll kind of name the same way as the arteries, facial artery, facial vein, superficial temporal artery, superficial temporal vein. So luckily we've kind of got that going for us, but this is a little different. The facial artery is actually going to go down and then drain into the vein right up here, and this is called the internal jugular vein. So this is the vein that comes up or comes down from like the sigmoid sinus through the jugular foramen and connects to the internal jugular vein right here, bringing blood from the sinuses in your nervous system, which is going to be going from the brain. So bringing blood from the brain, this is internal jugular vein, and facial vein drains into it. Now superficial temporal vein is going to be a little different. It's going to go down and then along the outside of the sternocleidomastoid, and it's actually going to continue down this way to join with the external jugular vein. So it's a little tricky because facial artery and superficial temporal artery both came off of the same thing. That was external carotid artery. But for the veins, they're different. Facial vein goes into internal jugular vein. Superficial temporal vein continues down here to go to external jugular vein. And let's kind of see where that goes with our next model here. So if you follow along, we can see that we have those veins in the neck again. And facial and superficial temporal aren't as clear here, but over here, this is going to be internal jugular vein, the big one that's more medial, And then this one is going to be the external jugular vein, which is smaller and more lateral. So the big one is bringing blood from the brain. The smaller one is generally bringing blood from like areas of the head. But let's follow these down. And another vein that I can point out while we're here is like underneath this bone, the clavicle. This right here is called the subclavian vein. So under the clavicle, you have the subclavian vein. And if you follow the external jugular vein, it's actually going to drain right into the subclavian vein. So right external jugular vein drains into right subclavian vein. And then subclavian vein keeps going, but then it ends when it joins with internal jugular vein. So internal jugular vein joins with the right subclavian vein. And then when the right internal jugular vein and subclavian vein meet, that's when you have a new vein. But remember, when we take a look at these, this is bringing blood from the head and the arm. So these two blood vessels join to form right here the right brachiocephalic vein. So just to be clear, for the brachiocephalic trunk, you only had one, so be careful, but for the veins, you have two brachiocephalic veins. So brachiocephalic vein on the right side, brachiocephalic vein on the left side. When they join together right here, that's when you go back to the heart and bring blood to the superior vena cava. So this right here will be the superior vena cava where the two, the right and left brachiocephalic veins meet. So with that said, that should be just about it for these models regarding blood vessels. So there's definitely more to take a look at, but that will be for a later day. So thank you for listening. Good luck with your studying, and I'll see you all next time.